Yeah, what's going on? So, Path of Exile 2, it's no doubt that a lot of people are excited about this. I did a video recently watching DM, Daft Microtransactions, talk about welcoming new players in, the community welcoming new players in, going in, with a clear mind, and this video dropped, and I did see this on Asmongold's channel, but I wanted to kind of watch it for myself. I do enjoy Asmongold's takes, and I just want to hear the opinions and kind of give my thoughts on it, because I think, being a new player and new Exile, I want to hear what someone who's in the scene, who's attuned to these sort of things. Anyway, right, let's hear what we got here about Path of Exile 2.
Oh boy, all right, so Path of Exile 2, the reviews are in. Good news is they're looking quite positive, with early impressions confirming our suspicion that this could be the best ARPG of all time.
Excellent.
Good news, though, is that not everyone's happy review codes even exist, let alone that there are people out there already playing through the entire game. So, let's talk about it.
You need review codes, to be honest. I mean, I've known games that didn't do it. I think, there's always it's a 50-50 again. But once people have got review copies out, if there's an issue that comes up in those review copies, they can address it quickly and get it fixed. I know, obviously, the game's in early access, but that's the point in it, so we can fix these things. But again, it's I suppose if review copies are going out, why pay for early access? You might as well just give it out and let it rip. And then obviously if you want a bit extra, maybe then charge okay, if you support us by playing the game, but then pay a little bit more, and you'll get all these gifts and prizes for just for paying a little bit. I don't know, it's kind of a weird balance, isn't it? How do you do that?
Earlier today, the first Path of Exile 2 review was released, coming from YouTuber fextralife. In a 15-minute video, he said quite a few interesting things about the game. Here are some of the highlights. He refers to PoE2 as the, quote, Dark Souls of ARPG. We're escaping this, right? Dark Souls will be with us forever.
Yeah.
Mainly here,
set the standard for Darks.
The game is quite challenging, with no difficulty options to pick from, and even playing through the campaign as it was quite difficult. Lots of challenging boss fights were there that he found quite rewarding to overcome.
Good.
The game gave him a similar feeling in terms of its difficulty to the likes of Dark Souls or Elden Ring. He said that the maps are large, estimating it takes a full hour to go from side to side. That sounds crazy, but we'll see.
If I play a hard game, I'm always going to have to say, yeah, this is hard. It's like Dark Souls hard. It's I don't know. When I played Batman Wukong, I didn't think of Dark Souls. I was thinking of Neo. I did, I didn't think, oh yeah, playing Neo. That didn't make me think of Dark Souls at all. I was thinking, damn, there's a lot of weapons in this game. This is very different. This ain't Dark Souls. This is something completely different. I never played Sekiro and thought, well, I haven't played Sekiro, but I never looked at Sekiro and thought, oh, that's definitely Dark Souls. Dark Souls does its thing. Elden Ring's now the new standard, for it. Elden Ring is the open world of Dark Souls. It's the Dark Souls open world, in a sense. So now other games are going to have to do that. They're going to have to follow that sort of method, and then once it gets a bit as good as this game's hard. It's like Elden Ring.
Also mentions that there was just a great sense of discovery while playing.
Good.
Be it discovering new lore, unlocking new mechanics, finding new enemies and areas, etc. Now, one quote that I absolutely loved was that with the amount and variety of content, it feels like 3 games rolled into one. Love to see it. The campaign, he estimates, was about 35 to 40 hours, but after that, there's of course loads of endgame. And he mentioned feeling like he just scratched the tiniest surface of what's on offer after spending 40 hours with it, potentially saying that this could be the all-time king of the genre. He also mentioned that it feels like there are limitless combinations of builds, that respecking is much easier than it has been in the past. He thought the dark theme and overall art direction was outstanding and
nice,
inspired by Diablo 2. He felt it was the most dynamic combat in any ARPG he's ever played, and fextralife has played quite a few. He also talked about things like the details on the skill effects and boss designs being some of the best he's seen in the industry.
Nice.
Blown away by the amount of detail. He did play on controller for a bit and said that it feels like the game was designed for controller first. Interesting. So
okay.
It's even better than Diablo 4 did on a controller. Now,
wow, that's interesting. I'm actually I'm a pad player. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a keyboard mouse player, but that does sound quite interesting. controller first. Maybe I mean, I don't know much about the developers personally, but I think like maybe they were console players, and then they got into like this is the route they went down. It was just easier on PC to develop first and then distribute, and they thought, controller first. I mean, yeah, there's an option there, but yeah, sounds pretty cool. I mean, again, it's I suppose for keyboard players, I suppose different opinions. The opinions differ, but I don't remember. I played a little bit of Path of Exile 1, but I don't remember how it felt. I know how Diablo 4 feels on keyboard, but I don't know how it feels on controller. So I never used controller for Diablo. I used mouse and keyboard.
Including the fact that he saw a few bugs and got crashes during the review process, and also that maps felt a little empty in terms of the amount and frequency of events. Now, that said, he wrapped it all up by saying that he strongly believes PoE 2 will cement the studio as one of the all-time greats among the likes of FromSoft or Larian. Now, I would argue that GGG is already there just with PoE 1, but that's besides the point.
Okay.
You know what? All of this sounds great to me. I am so happy to hear that the game is turning out nicely. So what exactly is the problem then?
Right.
Well, there's two main things happening here. One is that the review was posted way prior to embargo.
Yeah, I heard about that.
A week before it was supposed to come out. And
Naughty.
number two is that everyone was under the impression that there would be no early access prior to the early access public launch, that there would be no early review copies of Path of Exile 2 prior to that December 6th release.
Was that confirmed?
It was supposed to happen as far as everyone was concerned. So what exactly is going on here? Well, I will tell you right after this. Today's video is sponsored by Light of Moderum. This is an open world survival crafting game with action combat, all set in a world reclaimed by nature and ruled.
This looks like Horizon, doesn't it?
Beasts, players will explore a variety of landscapes, uncovering ancient secrets and forging bonds with powerful mech animals. Some key features include a fully seamless open world where you'll traverse grasslands, deserts, forest, and mountains. There's a variety of weapons you use and
open world Horizon
versus a wide range of mechanical foes. You've got all the basics with light and heavy attacks, dodging, blocking, counters, and even special abilities. Fighting alongside you are the mech animals, over 100 to collect, each with unique designs and roles they fulfill, aiding you in battle. There's the survival crafting mechanics and unpredictable weather you'll have to protect against, and co-op gameplay as you can group with other players anytime, hunting beasts, gathering resources, or building bases.
Damn, man, this game's mad.
Or you can wishlist and check out Light of Moderum yourself using the link in the video description below. All right, so let's get into the
that's pretty cool
issues around everything that's been going on over the past 24 hours.
All right, let's go.
The first big thing is that it appears like fextralife posted their review, let's call it a tad early. At the time it went live, it was the only one out there, which had everyone speculating, are they the only outlet who got review codes?
Right.
Now, no, as it turns out, they just posted far prior to the actual embargo. Now, after not too long, fextralife did take their video down. It was self-removed, and as of this recording, it is no longer available for viewing. You cannot go check the review yourself. Now, everyone was quick to blame them for breaking embargo because, of course, right, this is not a good thing. You shouldn't be doing it. But apparently the fault lies with the developer, Grinding Gear Games. They said themselves on Twitter, unfortunately, there was a miscommunication with fextralife that resulted in a video being posted early. This was a mistake on our end and is in no way on fextralife. Now,
that's fine. I mean, mistakes happen. People come out and admit their mistake. Done. No big deal. Hasn't hurt anybody. Opinions are out about the game. Make your own opinion when you play it, which I've been told to do. Make my own opinion about it when I play it. But I'm already of the mind it's going to be good. So it doesn't matter. I read through the tweet, I saw this tweet and I read through and I was like, nodding my head. I was like, I did think, oh God, I'm so used to seeing reviews. I'm so used to seeing people talk about games early now. It's just the norm. And if it came out just a bit too early, then fair enough. Slap someone on the wrist for it or admit your mistake and move on. Fine.
Now, I was seeing some speculation that the developer might just be falling on the sword here, that they are lying about it being their fault so as to save fextralife from getting hate. The argument that I've seen being, if it was GGG's fault and there was a miscommunication, why didn't any of the other outlets break embargo? Like, why was it only fextralife who broke embargo?
True.
They
Good
all had
point.
the same embargo timing, right? And that sounds simple, right? But surprise, things are rarely as simple as they sound. As someone who has done quite a few reviews and previews in the past that come with embargoes, I can tell you the process looks different all the time, and it can often be quite a bit messy. So sometimes you get all of the info, the embargo timing, basic details on the game, the installation and review guides, all of it comes nicely in a package in a pre-made PDF. Everyone gets the same PDF with all the same info. Easy, right?
Right.
No confusion.
Nice little document spreadsheet.
Sometimes that happens. Other times, it's just a literal email from some contact at the company or in relation to the company that says, hey, here is the game code. Embargo lifts at such and such a time on such and such a day. Let us know if you have any questions. And then that's it. It's literally just an email that somebody sent with a couple of lines of info. And many times this will be like a back and forth conversation with them, giving you the code and then saying embargo comes later and then sending the embargo. And this process can and does vary wildly from game to game, from review and preview to review and preview.
It can take time. I mean, I've had conversations with people over email, and you're always waiting for the next email, anticipating, okay, what's next? What? You know, it's getting things in place. I think, and you know, when you're a busy person, you work from home or you go to work, and you're doing this in your spare time, and you're trying to grow a channel or you're trying to do some reviews. You want to get your hands on the game. Sometimes you're just like, right, I'm going to play the game while I'm waiting for the next email. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, I didn't check my emails. I forgot. Let me just write up my opinions quick. Boom, put them out. Read the email. Oh shit, it's an embargo. I fucked up. You know, it happens. It happens. And I'm sure it's one of those situations where things got a bit miscommunication happened.
You also have to keep in mind that a lot of times this process is handled by a third party. So it's not even a media contact or someone who actually works at GGG who is handing out this information. Many times developers will hire agencies to do all of the back and forth communication for pre-launch reviews. The point is, it is very possible that yes, somebody actually made a mistake when sharing the review info with fextralife. And this isn't me trying to build a case to defend them. I'm just letting people know this stuff can often be like way more casual and messy than you would assume.
Definitely.
That somebody just screwed up. They gave them the wrong day. They accidentally typed the wrong time.
No harm, no foul.
include a time.
No harm, no foul.
Mistakes like this happen somewhat frequently. In fact, I can tell you I've been sent wrong embargo information on numerous occasions, and I'm not talking like just once or twice. It's happened several times over this past year alone. Now, fortunately, those were all corrected prior to me posting, either because I decided to double check to make sure that the information was accurate,
double checking,
because they send a follow-up email that says, hey, we made a mistake. The embargo is actually at this specific time and day instead. Now, of course, I don't know exactly what happened in this particular situation. We're all just guessing, but I do believe Grinding Gear Games. Like, I don't think they're lying about this being their fault, because I've been a part of this process so much over the years that I can tell you mistakes are not uncommon. And frankly, I think it's ridiculous to think that the devs would be lying here if there was no miscommunication.
No need to.
GG could have just not mentioned the embargo break that happened, right? They took the video down, they could have just ignored it, but they made a whole big post about it, I think because it was their fault. There's really no sense in them lying to cover fextralife's butt. When somebody breaks embargo purposefully, you know what happens? You get blacklisted and you don't get codes from that company.
Yeah, no company's ever going to come out and defend and say, yeah, hold on a minute, this is our fault. This is all our fault, and we apologize for that. There's an embargo. They'll just come out and say, due to the embargo being broken and emails not being sent on time and properly read, we're going to punish this person by saying no more review codes for you, strike him off our mailing list or whatever. No, they just probably looked at what their correspondence and said, oh damn, we sent the wrong in, but we sent a generic time. We sent some wrong information to a wrong time zone, or we messed up by not sending an email specifically titled to fextralife. We just sent it out, and it was wrong. It was completely wrong. Our bad. These things happen. Human error. Move on.
Company ever again. The devs are not coming out lying to cover up somebody else's screw up. Like, I at least have never seen this happen. Maybe this is the first time, right? But anyways, that out of the way, this isn't even the biggest issue that people have right now. Like,
really?
This isn't the main reason people
There's more.
because fextralife broke the embargo, right? The main reason that a lot of people are really upset right now is just the fact that pre-launch review codes are even happening. Many were under the impression that this wasn't going to be the case for Path of Exile 2, and that we would all be playing the early access version of the game for the first time together on December 6th. So what's happening? Well, GGG addressed this as well in their tweet by saying, we've seen some speculation that some people might already have access to the early access version of Path of Exile 2. To clarify, some traditional games media have been given access to a review version of the game. Part of the stipulation that media were given is that this is for review purposes only. They may share their opinions of the game, but are not allowed to produce guide-style content from this version that would spoil the discovery of the game or post unedited playthroughs. They're not playing on the same servers as the early access version, so none of the progress will be kept. In addition, all of the content they produce is embargoed until the early access on December 6th, so no content is supposed to be posted until then. That's then when they said, sorry, we had a miscommunication with fextralife. It's not their fault, it's ours. And then they wrap up by saying, on release day, we want players to be able to make a more informed choice about if they would like to buy a key. We believe that allowing traditional games media access should be able to accomplish this without spoiling the game. Okay, so there you have it. They have sent out review codes to traditional games media. This was done with the caveat that they couldn't post any guides or full walkthroughs. It was on entirely separate servers, so no progress will carry over. And the embargo is set to lift on December 6th when the game officially launches into early access. Now, besides the fact that now that we know the embargo is for December 6th, that means whatever miscommunication may have happened with fextralife was hilariously massive. Like, they gave an embargo timing that was 6 days wrong. Excuse me? I don't know.
That's pretty big, yeah.
Like I said, it's a sloppy process. There is miscommunication. People are misinformed. Sometimes the people relaying the information, the in-betweens, the agencies that are working with the developer and publisher and sharing the information and dealing with all the reviewers, sending out codes and all that. Sometimes somebody just doesn't know everything, or they get something wrong, or they type something wrong. Like, that does happen. But anyways, that aside, people are just upset at the fact that anybody is playing the game prior to its full release.
Get over it. Simple. Just get over it. Honestly, just get over it. I'm not sitting here like stressing, like, oh no, someone's played it before me. So to go over it, like, I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to explore and you know, learn about the game and then look at things later. I'm not going to look at other people, what they're building and how they're playing until I get to a point where I'm like, okay, let's go back and look at what they did and see what I did, and then kind of compare and go, oh yeah, I could have done that better, or I did that better, or oh yeah, my build was different there. And that's the whole point, right? You don't, if you're so worried about what other people are doing, and if they've got to play it like review copy at least, I suppose, because they want to sit down and say, right, let's write up our reviews, let's write up our like synopsis of the game, what we think of it, what could be, you know, what's bad, what's good. Okay, that's on the side there. Distribute that on December 6th when the game drops, and you know, there we go. Nice, you know. They've got businesses to run. People who aren't going to buy the game are like, I'm going to wait till the reviews come out. I'm going to wait till the game comes out. Then I'll decide. Then I'll make my choice. No reviews. No videos. Nothing at all. This is late. 2 days later. Oh, there it is. Well, everyone's playing it now and it's saying it's amazing. And I missed out. I missed out on the drop, you know, because these reviews weren't out on time. I could have bought it that day. Come on. Go over it.
Why? Well, there's a few very particular reasons. For starters, people just have an issue with fextralife in general, them getting access, because mainly, besides people who just don't like fextralife for a variety of reasons, many of which I think are justified. I don't have a personal grudge against the guy or the channel, but I understand why some people don't like him for the embedded Twitch view boosting that he does, for some of where they're getting their guide informations, for the quality of their guides, you know, whatever. He's not what many consider traditional games media, because they do run a wiki. Whatever you think of that wiki's quality, they do have a wiki with guides and information, and it even appears like they may have already started populating their wiki with info that was acquired during the review, which I wouldn't be too surprised if they have at least got that process going. If they've truly played the game for 40 hours and they're going to have a wiki on PoE2, they do have a wiki on PoE2, they're at least going to start pre-filling out that information, even if it's embargoed for a week after launch, although it looks like some of that went live and then they took it down. But anyways, the point is, someone like fextralife isn't really just traditional games media, because they have a wiki and they do post guides, and this makes it counter to GGG's stated philosophy of not wanting to spoil the discovery phase of the game prior to launch, or just not wanting to spoil it in general.
Okay, that's a fair point. That kind of puts a spin on it, but at the same time, like, just don't fucking read it. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm not going to read anything that fextralife puts out. I'm not going to go, oh, I need a guide to find out how to build my character. I'm just going to build my character however I want. I'm not, like, if you have to, like, listen, if you want to read guides and how to build characters to make them super uber strong and like, oh, this character's amazing, look how I built them, and it's like, okay, cool. I've seen that build somewhere online. It's like, cool. But then if I'm building a character and they do something completely different, they go a completely different direction and are built a completely different way, you'd be like, oh, that's new. I've not seen that. Oh, that's not very strong, but oh, I see why you do it. Yeah, I like it like this. Is how I like my character. Oh, well, I saw this guy. I was like, fuck that, I ain't reading that. I don't care. Just don't read the guide. Just don't listen. I don't know how else to put it. Like, if you're so dependent on other people to help you play a game, like, I'm speaking to the wrong generation of people. I'm speaking to people who, I grew up I was born in the 80s. So, like, the only access I had was like to magazines, for like, reviews and talking about games. I used to love reading that sort of stuff. Now it's everywhere. It's like, this is the, like, I could type in Google best build guide for, and I've got, boom, right there. I've got all the information I want at my fingertips. No more magazines. No need for them anymore. But I can just close the internet, boot up my game, and play the game. And I don't have to read any guides. I could just discuss with friends and say, I'm thinking of going this build. I'm thinking of using this ability, which that sounds pretty strong. That sounds quite cool. Yeah. And it's like we just gel off each other's kind of feeling on it. Not like, hold on, let me just type this in. It's like, come on, bro, grow the fuck up.
If a review outlet like IGN or YouTubers, someone like SkillUp, if they get a review, we know it's going to be like a focused on the base game and sort of a one-off thing. Like, there is little to no risk of outlets like that, of people like that, of channels like that, spoiling the experience and ruining the discovery of the game, especially for the late.
Only if you read it.
It's going to happen. But that brings us to the other thing that's causing complaints here. It's that players don't want the game solved prior to release. And this is a valid concern. I totally understand it. It's one that was widely expressed during the launch of Diablo 4, because with that game, myself and many others did have access to D4 prior to it coming out. And specifically, the hardcore sweats of the crowd, the super blasters, they basically had the whole game figured out before it launched, like with leveling and endgame class build guides, with boss fighting tactics, with farming routes, so on and so on. I think especially for a genre like ARPGs, there's a lot of people who want to feel like they are part of that discovery phase all together as a community at the same time.
Understandable.
People who aren't YouTubers or aren't guide makers also have a chance to come up with some of those great builds. Like, there's people who find value in that. So that's something that gets taken away when people have access to the game 2 to 3 weeks prior to launch, and especially people who are the type that are going to be figuring all this stuff out. So yeah, the concern is more so that fextralife running a wiki and posting guides isn't quite the same as, again, like an IGN or a YouTube reviewer.
That's fine. It's fine.
Code.
That's fine, but it's not illegal. That's the problem. It's not illegal. It's not. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. It's just the machine. It's just the machine. And I think, like, we could be upset all you want, or the community could be upset as much as they want. But all you've got to do, like I said, is just don't read it. Just don't care. Just do you, and do what you've got to do. And if someone's discovered it before you have, big boo-hoo, it's what happens. You can't. This is just how it is now. This is just how it is. You've got. Listen, it's just. Look. You can't stop it. You cannot stop it. It's just the way it is. There's no way to lock someone down. There's no way to lock someone down on this. This guy's probably already got like 100 builds ready to go. If he's that dedicated, he's ready to cook, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. Nothing you can do. Just get on with it.
They're not going to be posting endgame build guides, right? Meta builds. Now, I will say, though, at the same time, people are expressing this concern. I really don't think it's an actual issue because fextralife in particular, in my eyes, is way closer to traditional games media than he is to the hardcore ARPG enthusiast. And what I mean specifically is I am under zero impression that any guides fextralife comes up with are going to be anywhere remotely close to the best.
No, 100%, 100%.
Being the ideal thing and actually being the solution to whatever problem is in the game, right? It's not the same as the ARPG blasters out there, people like Rex and DM and Rob, any of the crew on Max Roll and Icy Veins, for example. Those players,
they're the big guys. They're the big ones.
Does mean the game would be solved prior to launch. And as far as I'm aware, GGG hasn't given pre-launch codes to that portion of the community. So even though fextralife does run a wiki and post guides, I really don't think there's legitimate concern of them solving the game. They could certainly still spoil stuff though, and if they're already filling up their wiki, that may end up happening depending on when that wiki embargo is. Well, fextralife and embargo timings, you know, that's kind of a touchy subject as of this video, right? But truthfully, yeah, like all of that actual solving of the game, of finding the best builds, that is still gonna happen at launch and post-launch when all of the blasters and all of the hardcore members of the ARPG community are finally playing.
Yeah, they'll be cooking.
Now, with that said though, if Grinding Gear Games truly wanted to fully avoid any spoilers, any solving of, or any ruining of Path of Exile 2's discovery phase and the fresh launch experience, they shouldn't have sent out pre-release codes to anyone, especially people who run wikis. But I'm really not trying to single fextralife out. Everyone else is doing that as is. And like I said, I don't have a personal grudge against him. I do think some of the stuff that's been associated with fextralife is a little shady, right? Like the embedding to boost views and whatever. How accurate someone's wiki isn't like whatever. You can make a bad wiki if you want. But yeah, the view boosting was pretty shitty. So I understand why people have a really sour taste in their mouth when it comes to that channel. And that individual in particular. But my main point being is they just got themselves in a really tricky situation here. They shouldn't have sent out pre-release codes to anyone, whether it's traditional games media or otherwise, if they wanted a truly pure experience as they're stating they are. I get the argument that they're making is that they wanted to inform consumers, but consumers can be informed. It doesn't have to be on the day that it releases.
I made that point already about the informing consumers, but you have to remember not everyone lives their entire lives online. I mean, obviously most people do. But generally, it's like, you say to people, have you heard of Path of Exile 2? Oh, no, I haven't. Did you play Diablo 4? Or did you play Diablo? Yeah, I know Diablo. I've played some Diablo. It's good. Oh, well, here's this game, Path of Exile 2. All right. And then they need information. You know, you can only tell them so much. Sometimes friends don't trust friends anymore. You know, gamers don't trust gamers. They're like, oh, I'll look into it. I'll watch some videos. That's what they do. And sometimes you need that stuff out there, you know, on day of release or day after release. You need opinions formed by these games media reviewers, because they need to make an opinion, so it informs people who aren't like, say, me or you, who, you know, we always keep our ear to the ground as best we can, and we kind of keep watching. I'm on YouTube a fucking lot, and I watch a lot of stuff from a lot of different people, and you know, sometimes I listen to it and I think, okay, yeah, that makes sense and I agree, or sometimes I think, I chatting shit, and I go against the grain. And there's examples I could cite, but it's fine. But again, that's just me, and I think, you know, you need. I think, you know, like I said, the magazine died. We need that information for the general populace who don't spend their entire time going, Path of Exile 2. It's like, you know, what's a good game right now? What's a good game to play? What's a good game that's like this? What game you want it to come up with? Bang! Here's a review. Check it out. Go grab it. You know, nothing comes up. Your game doesn't get sold. You make no money, except for the people that obviously know about it. But, you know.
Especially since it's an early access release. And I say this as someone who does pre-launch reviews and previews and videos all the time, right? So like, I have a bias to suggest that these companies are giving out pre-release codes because I can post videos early and those videos can get views. Even if that all stopped happening, I'd adjust. I'd be fine. There's still a lot of videos that I can make. I don't only do reviews after all. This isn't a review. But yeah, anyways, I'm not someone who would be figuring out the best builds anyways. There's no fear of that. I'm not making guides. I'm really probably not solving anything about an ARPG. But regardless, GGG did put themselves in kind of an awkward situation with this one. They profess to not wanting to ruin the game for their hardcore audience, and
the first L of GGG,
wanting to market as much as possible, giving access to publications with a wider reach reach outside of the most hardcore ARPG fans. And as a result, well, we've ended up in this rather messy circumstance. Now, is this going to ruin my personal experience with the game? No, not at all.
No.
I'm not bothered that I
not at all.
Life or whoever else got access will be posting their reviews on launch day. And as mentioned, none of them are actually going to have the best builds or really spoil too much of the game, even if they do post guides or whatever, which apparently they're not going to be allowed to until sometime after release. I will wrap up by saying, though, that the most significant thing that I took out of this whole situation is that the review, however embargo breaking it was overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
Like, they were singing glowing praise for this game, and that is awesome. Like, I was already excited for PoE 2.
Yeah.
Hyped.
And that's what we're here for.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to play. I can't wait to see all the discovery that happens.
Yeah, right.
From December 6th onwards. But anyways, that is it for the this video. Let me know what you think about this, just this whole situation, this topic in general. I know it's a pretty heated one. I know there's a lot of strong feelings on the side of people not wanting the game spoiled. Like, whatever personal grudge people have against fextralife aside. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it, especially with a game like this. I understand. I do understand the complaints. But that is it for me for today. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
Great video. No, I really liked it. Force Gaming, great video. Really enjoyed that. Good insight into the situation. Because I read the tweets, I saw the post by Grinding Games, Path of Exile account. And I was like, yeah, you know, and I saw Asmongold was talking about it, and I thought, you know what, I want to hear it for myself. Asmongold's obviously got some great takes sometimes, and I agree with some of the things he says sometimes, and you know, I just think, you know, I think in this situation, I'll go back and watch his at some point. But I think this is a good, like, video that really kind of sums it all up. Just, you know, makes all the points, covers all the basics, but my opinion still stands. I'm cool with review copies being given out. I'm cool with someone making a Wikipedia page with some bare minimum good builds. You need it for the general populace. The hardcore guys, the top dogs of this genre, will go in and smash like they do. And they'll come out with some big stuff for people later on. People who like me and some other people will just go in and play the game. We'll get to the end and say, oh, how did you build? Some build like this. You could always smell, if someone says, oh, I built like this, and you look around and you go, oh, I've seen that build somewhere. You always say, oh, you watched the build guide. But Path of Exile 2 is looking like, you know, there is no wrong, like I said, they said in it, there's no wrong choice. You play it how you want. You'll get strong in other ways. And you can, and I've been told on comments from other videos, you can just respec, and it's like it's an economy was the word that was used. So yeah, really excited. Great video before Gaming. All of these details, all of this will be in the description box below. Big thank you to all my channel members. Thanks so much again. Appreciate watching this. I hope you're excited for Path of Exile 2 like I am. Really I'll post my gameplay. I'm not going to be doing anything like, I'm not discovering anything. It's just, I'm going to be streaming the game, enjoying the game. Things like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of jumping on Path of Exile 2 as much as possible. And yeah, one of the top games I'm looking forward to this year, along with others. So yeah, excellent stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah.